round 43. Like I mentioned before, we're going to reconnect the yellow yarn, and we're going to start at the increase, do a whole bunch of single crochet over here to this new section we've been working on, and here we're going to do a puff stitch followed by a chain, and then a few more single crochet just to finish it out. So a bunch of single crochet, puff stitch, few single crochet. So starting with the increase from the last round, we want to start in the first stitch. And we have 33 single crochet to get us over to the part we need to be working on. So quite a bit in the beginning. So that's one. That's 5. Ten. 15, not quite halfway, but close. 20. 25. 30, and we want 33. So 31, 32, and 33. And if you notice, it's the first of the 2 treble stitches from the last round. So starting at the increase, come 33 stitches over to the first of the 2 trebles. Now our puff stitch, and the problem with it getting bigger is that it starts pulling off the table, so I apologize. I gotta kind of rearrange this here. So for the puff stitch, remember we're gonna do the yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw up a loop a whole bunch of times, 5 specifically, and we're gonna do it into this blue front loop that's in between the 2 front posts from, or not front post, I'm sorry, just the overlay stitches from before. So yarn over, grab that guy, draw up a loop, leave yourself a lot of space. We got to do that 5 times. So that was 1. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. We haven't done one for quite a while. Ooh, that one went well. Last time, yarn over, bring it through all the hoops or all the loops on your hook, and then a chain. So that's actually 2 stitches, the puff and the chain, but we're only going to skip 1 back here because that's going to give us our sort of hidden increase. So we're going to skip this guy and start on the other side. And here it should be 5 single crochet to get us back to the increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. and the increase is next, which means we're in the perfect position to start the second repeat. So this is what we have going on. Start at the first stitch of an increase. It's 33 stitches, or just go until you get to the first front post here. Your last stitch will be in this, I keep calling it a front post, I'm sorry, in this blue overlay stitch. A puff stitch follows into the blue, you see it here, the blue front loop that's between these two. Always after the puff we do a chain, it kind of holds it in place. Behind, we're only going to skip 1 though, not 2. And then 5 more stitches brings us to the increase. So 33, puff, chain, skip 1, 5. There you go. 8 times around, and you can see we're starting to fill in this space. So next time we're going to continue to close it up and work from there. Round 44 is next. We're gonna continue the blue front post stitches, actually connecting these up into a point now, just like we did with the white. Now we'll do the blue, and then later we'll do the white again. So one thing to note with this round, it's another round where there are no increases of any kind. So no real increases, no hidden increases where we just don't skip a stitch. This is just going to stay the same number as the last round. So to start off, get to one of the puff stitches. You don't want the puff stitch, you want the one that comes right before it, so right here. We're going to do that. We're just going to have a whole bunch of single crochet and then a front post 2 together right here. So to get over to where our front post stitches go, we need to start with 23 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, and remember, like with the last round, this chain stitch, or not last round, but the last time we did the puff stitches a while ago, this chain stitch that comes after the puff stitch is really easy to skip by accident. So make sure you look for it. If your puff stitch was really tight, this chain stitch often is really, really tiny. So make sure you don't skip that or your count will be way off. So we have 2, this one's 3, 4, 5, so now I'll start counting in 5s. This one's 10. That's 15. And we want 23. So 21, 22, and 23. And if you notice, we're sort of centered on these stitches right here. So now we're going to do a front post double treble, so yarn over 3 times, 2 together. So it means that these guys, we're gonna do front posts around both of these, but only have 1 stitch up here. So yarn over 3 times, and then we want to do the first few parts of this stitch. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, but still stop when we have those 2 loops together. Now yarn over 3 times and do the first 3 parts of this front post stitch. 1, 2, 3. So now that we have these 3 loops left, yarn over and pull through all of them. So we get 2 front post double trebles that only go into 1 stitch up at the top. So we are going to skip 1 after that, and now 16 single crochet should bring us back to before the puff stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And if you look, this one right here, that's my puff stitch. The one that comes right after it is the next one. So we're right back where we started. So that's the repeat here. As I said, no increases, real or hidden. We had 40 stitches per repeat last time. We still have 40 stitches for this round. So you want to join in the stitch before the big puff stitch here. Get all the way over to the middle here, so that's 23 single crochet get you here. Do your front post 2 together, yarning over 3 times with each. I think a double treble, you're going to need that much yarn to finish those stitches. So a front post, double treble, 2 together. It's a lot to say, but not a lot to do. Skip the stitch behind because this blue one will be our stitch. And then 16 single crochet should get you back to before the puff. So 23, 16, and the 2 together here in the middle. That's it. Round 45 is up next. We're moving on to round 45 now, and this is sort of exciting for 2 reasons. One, we're actually going to finish up our triangles. So with this round, we're going to connect up these triangles, so we'll finish that part of the design. So it's always nice when you get a part done. We don't need to continue it on anymore. And this means we have 5 rounds left to the end. So we're on to our last 5. So close to the end. So we are going to connect white yarn, and I recommend for this one, again, using a stitch marker or a bit of scrap yarn, because we're starting at a somewhat random point, so it helps to mark where you started. So if you need to go back and count, you're not trying to find where that, random point was where we had begun the repeat. So for our repeat, and actually it's getting big enough I have to start folding my work over because it's falling off the table here. We're not going to join at this point. We're going to go 6 before it, so 6 stitches before this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like I said, a somewhat arbitrary point out here. So on the next repeat, when I'm done with this one, I'll mark where my end is so I can count easily. So after this, we're actually going to go 6 back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's difficult to start and end around on the front post stitches, so that's why I had you start out a bit and then just come back. So now we're going to do another one of these 2 together stitches. We're going to grab each side of the outside white overlay and connect them up into one. So because it's so far, we're going to do a double treble for each. So yarn over 3 times, but we're only going to do the first 3 parts of the stitch, not all 4 parts. So grab this one, and like I said, we're going to start with the first 3. 1, 2, 3, but stop when we still have these 2 loops here. Yarn over 3 times, grab the outside one. 1, 2, 3, and now with the 3 loops left, we're going to do 1 yarn over and pull up a loop just to finish the whole thing. So we're actually connecting the 2 stitches up. So that's our stitch right there. we are going to skip 1 and now do 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gotta, sorry about that, move my work out so I can move it. Another 5. We need 15 total, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 more, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now we're going to continue these 2 sides of the part we're making here. We're not connecting them up yet, we're just going to continue them up. So these are going to end up being 2 separate front post stitches. So double treble, yarn over 3 times, grab the white front post here, and finish the whole stitch. 1, 2, 3, all 4 parts. All right, we're going to skip 1 and then have 3 single crochet to get to the other side. Did I skip that one? I did. Now we'll do this side. Again, yarn over 3 times for a double treble. Grab that front post and complete the whole stitch. 2, 3, all 4 parts. So that's what this is going to look like. Later on in the I think in the next round we're actually going to continue the aqua stitches on the inside right there. So after we do this one, we're going to do skip again, skip our stitch there, 2 stitches so that we can throw in an increase. Now our increase. And after this, just to finish out the round, we're going to do 10 more single crochet, which will bring us out here 6 before the next front post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as I said, this is kind of just a random point out here. But if we look, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches before this one. So to make life easier for my next repeat, I am going to just mark this one here so that I can keep the count the same. Like I said, you don't have to do this, but it can help. Ooh, 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 don't pull that, don't pull that, sorry. So gotta be careful with your hook, you just start grabbing things. This is what the repeat looks like. We're finishing up this triangle, so this is what your triangles will look like, and we're continuing the outside of this part here. We'll finish out the blue in there, the aqua, later. So we start 6 stitches in front of this blue front post stitch here, and then we do 6 single crochet right back so that we can do the overlay stitch. So this is a front post double treble 2 together, meaning that we're going to do the 2 stitches together into one, and both of them are double trebles that connect up with the white front posts from before. After you do that stitch, skip 1, and then there are 15 stitches to get over to this part. These are 2 separate front posts here. So you do your 15, a front post double treble into this white, skip 1, 3 stitches to get to the other side, a front post double treble into this side, skip 1, and then 2 just to give some space for the increase. After the increase, 10 gets you to the end. So 6, 15, 3, 2 increase, 10 with the front post stitches. And each front post stitch you want to skip the one in behind it. So make sure you skip here, and skip here. That's the repeat. I know as we're getting closer to the end, they're sort of crazy numbers, but write it down, follow it, and use your stitch marker to help you see where a repeat begins and ends. So if you need to go back and count, it's easier to find where you need to start. That's it for 45, and like I said, with this one, 5 more till the end.